As you can see over here, these are the issues that we created in our repository, and later on, just before the contest end, we submitted them actually to Code Arena. So we also marked them as low, medium, highs. We'll get to them later, but for now, I want to show you the framework, how we worked, how we collaborated as a team. So how did we divide the work? So as you know, if you participated in the contest, it's a pretty big code base. It's a pretty big code base. It was very interesting, but if you would ask me twice, maybe for this kind of live stream and for the time that I had to dedicate it for this contest, I would pick a smaller one because it was around 90K contest with around 4,000 lines of code. It was a lending system, which is quite complicated because they invented something quite new. If you've been through the course, through the lending protocols chapter and money market chapter, you know that we have Aven, we have Compound, and these protocols are using Oracle to fetch tokens price from the outside world because we don't know what is the token price, and they use sometimes Chainlink, sometimes Swap oracles. And these guys in Ethereum Credit Guild, they decided that they want to create a lending protocol without oracles. Now, how do you do that? Very good questions. That's why it's a very complicated protocol. And where you have complications, you usually have issues, which we were able to find some of them. But I'm sure there are more, for sure. And there were sometimes questions that I asked myself, like, is this actually going to work? Because how can you fetch the price? How is this protocol stable? And it was a very complex protocol. That's for sure. I guess if you participated, you felt the same. I would be happy to hear your feelings and your experience from the audit if you participated in. How was it for you? Is it a bit overwhelming? Maybe it was easy. Was it similar to other audits that you've done before or participated? Feel free to write it in the chat. And since it's a big code base, we divided the work initially that everyone is focused on a different part of the protocol. So Taz was focused more on the loan contract, as you can see over here. I will zoom in. So Taz was focused here mainly on the loan contracts and also in the tokens contracts, because obviously the tokens are like the building blocks of all the protocol, right? So if we have the credit token and the guild token that are being used in loan and governance, then basically they use the token features that were defined and implemented inside the tokens contract. So both of us kind of like took a look at the tokens contract. Taz was focused on the loan contracts and I was focused more on the governance initially. Also, Taz had more time to dedicate to the contest. That's why obviously it got like, you've been through these loan contracts which are much more complicated in my opinion. How also the profit manager, which is kind of like between the governance and the loan contract. We will see in a moment what every contract here means. And yeah, so this is how we did it in the beginning. And meanwhile, we read the contracts. We obviously added our audit comments. I will check out back to the main branch, so you will see my comments. It will be easier for me to explain. And yeah, so I basically started by going through the governance contract, like the guild governor, the time lock, the veto, the onboarding, offboarding. But another thing that we did is prior to the contest, before it actually started, you could find the documentation of the protocol. So I read the documentation, and also you could actually find the actual GitHub repository with the code that is going to be in Code Arena, because they froze the code 1 or 2 weeks before they actually started the contest and it was available. So if you had more time, you could dedicate it to this contest before it actually started, and you might have an edge on other contesters. Unfortunately, I didn't have much time, and I think Taz neither, so we didn't took this advantage and use it for our edge, for our advantage, but it was possible. I just one day before the contest read the docs and read about the governance and about the protocol a little bit. It's a bit overwhelming, obviously, because it's a lot of new concepts. Some of them are familiar, some of them are less familiar. But if you feel this overwhelming feeling in the beginning, there is so much code, it's such a big protocol, just know that you're not alone. Every single auditor have this same feeling. The start is the hardest because really you're just diving into 4,000 line of code for other developer. You need to get into his mindset. You need to learn a new protocol, new technology also. It's not just a fork of another protocol. It's a new technology. They invented something new and it's not simple. So just, be positive about it and know that every other contester is going through the same thing. You just need to have some edge. That's it. And keep going. So this is my tip and how I felt in the beginning. By the way, another disclaimer, you cannot do it. Actually, what we're doing right now in Code Arena, you cannot participate in auditing contest and show your findings to the public, either if it's like YouTube, Twitter, Discord. You should not tell it to people before the audit report is published unless you get a written approval from the sponsor, which I have. So the sponsor of this contest, which was a great guy, by the way, helped a lot, not only to me, to many people. He was very responsive. This guy, Iswak, very nice guy, very helpful. And he approved this live stream. And so just so you know, if you have any findings, you're not allowed to show them on Twitter or something before the report is published. Another FYI. This one you can because the sponsor approved. Nice.